I seen Alan Ellsworth too, and one of the things that really struck me, that was a year later. It was a clinic in a music
Mhm.
shop, whatever, and he was explaining how he was like the way he approached improvisation, and it was really interesting. It's like, oh well, it's like I'm going in a room, and there's like three other doors in that room, and I just take one of the doors, and that door takes me to another room with three doors, and then it all goes on and on. He's like, none of the doors, there's no wrong door. There's just infinite doors, possibilities, and it's so like abstract the way he does it. It's like, well, it's easier said than done, but at the same time, it makes sense, and it's
Yeah.
just for him, it's like endless possibilities. Like it's like you could watch him for like 4 hours, and there's like probably not one lick he would repeat. It's just
Yeah.
like an infinite well of chops and licks that he has over the years, and just watching that for like an hour, it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna sell
Have
my
you
guitar now.
checked out the
Yeah.
No,
um,
him and Jarzenbeck are kind of in the same league, I would say, right? Wouldn't you say they're kind of like these
Well, they're-
kind of mad scientists of
Oh,
guitar?
yeah.
They're like from outer space guitarists.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Oh,
They
yeah.
just took it to a ridiculous level, and
What
even
linked it up for
just
me
like,
was Focus, and then hearing Holdsworth, and I'm like,
Dude,
oh
yeah.
shit, oh,
Yeah.
this is where it came from.
mhm.
Because
Yeah.
you have to
For sure.
you have to dig in order to figure that out, because you listen to Focus for the longest time, it's like nobody else
Yeah.
sounds like this, but then you come across Holdsworth and you're like, this is what they were listening to.
yeah.
Mm.
That
Exactly.
Mahavishnu Orchestra, fucking all that shit, and then they ended up becoming
Also,
cynic.
just a shout out to Robert Fripp.
I'm
Yeah.
seeing King Crimson in a month.
He,
I'm seeing King Crimson.
God damn it, Joel.
I know. Yeah, with my
Nice.
mom. My mom's actually flying out from
That's so sick.
New Mexico to come see it. Where me and
Nice.
Trevor, my mom, are going. Like, so it's gonna be
I'm
sick. Dude. I
very
can't wait. We got
jealous.
like front row. Yeah, we spent
Damn.
a
Oh,
lot
no,
of
rub
money.
it in. Nice.
I know. I know.
Yes.
We're
When
like,
is that show? When?
I
when
think,
is
I
it?
think, yeah, I think we're like like in front of like Robert Fripp.
It's in
Oh, sick,
August.
dude.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
What else? What else? Keep going. What
No,
else?
have you actually the Robert Fripp's? You know those like gear breakdowns, and actually, I
Oh,
want to
yeah,
get into
dude.
gear for a second,
Uh-oh.
Phil, because people talk about wanting to know more about gear and stuff,
Hmm.
and I want to know more about because I'm obviously love it, but like he has that gear breakdown there, gear rundown or whatever those YouTube videos are of the guy with the microphone and
Mhm.
talking to Robert Fripp's guitar tech, and that gear rundown, his board, like it's like it wraps all the way around him, and he's in quad stereo. I don't know he's got four, so he can do like a loop in the back left corner of the venue, the back right corner of the venue, and then one in the two fronts. So he can have four. He's got like two different pairs of stereo going at the same time with
Wow.
all the pedals and stuff. And he's got like a mixture of iPads and like this retro old school 70s shit, like pedals and stuff like that. And like the rig, it just like literally gives me anxiety. This guy that has to like run that thing, like if one thing goes wrong, like I mean, he was talking about all the ways around if things go wrong. He's got the fractal stuff. He's got the old school amps. He's got like
Jeez.
everything like just wrapped around him.
In the
like,
moment troubleshooting, if some shit goes wrong, like the lists,
man.
you got to go
Sounds
down
like a
in your
nightmare.
head super
Like,
fast.
shit would go wrong with me with a fucking guitar head and a cabinet and like one pedal. Like shit would go wrong, and I would be like, "What's the problem? I don't know. I don't know how to
That's
fix
like
it."
when you forget to plug in, right? You know.
Yeah. But so Phil, so I see you have a 5152 behind you. So is that your main rig, and what kind of pedals, or are you using anything digital, or what are you doing?
Yeah, it's what I've used for Fragment, and also Catalyst, some Funeral stuff. I think I used it to reamp the Eternity Zen stuff. Also Xerox. I used it for a lot of bands. It's just as far as pedals go, I'm still in search of my tone, or my ultimate tone after years. It never stops, But in the live setting, I usually just have a shitload of delay and overdrive, because my ideal idea of a lead guitar tone is Tony McAlpine on the Mars Project Driver album release in '85 or '86. I'm not sure, but anyway, that's the best guitar tone in metal, in my opinion. One of the best. Just like that really fat, juicy tone with lots of delay, and that's always been kind of the thing I wanted to do. You know, regardless of the style of music that I play, always gonna have the similar tone for every one of my projects, First Fragment included. And people have always been asking about the First Fragment lead guitar tone, and it's really simple. It's just a PV through a PV cab or Marshall. Actually, on Dasein, our previous full length album, it was through a 70s Marshall cab that my father used to use back then, and a doubler setting that our guy who did all the productions we did together in 2009. His old computer couldn't open properly anymore, so we couldn't load in the session. So we had to take like really weird, like crude screenshots of the setting to kind of replicate it on the plugin he had. So it's like a mix of digital, and you know the rest comes from the amp. But it's that one FX setting that we did back then in 2009 that we were still using on later albums in First Fragment, and there's no pedal that I know that sounds like that. I hope one day somebody does a doubler pedal that has a similar sound, but the way we did it, you know, it would take me like an Axe FX to kind of just take the effect and you know, use it in a live setting. But Axe FX, it has its good and bad. I just prefer having just an amp and, you know, screaming behind me. But
I mean, for traveling, probably XFX would make. I mean, that makes a lot of sense for a lot of people with the modeling stuff, just because it's one little thing.
And you know, I've tried it before. I played session guitar in a band called Brought by Pain. It's all the guys from Beyond Creation. It's like they're all like their side project, and basically both bands, they play together, and both bands use the same rig, XFX. So you know, I've played a few shows with XFX and that kind of stuff, and it's cool. It's very practical, but PV has always been for me. I know a lot of people use PV. It's like one of the go-tos, one of the most used amps in metal, but you know, it's just, I guess it complements how I play, you know. It just works for me.
It's very durable too.
Yeah, it's just versatile. Whether I'm playing precise stuff or old school death metal or even funeral doom, you know, just change the EQ and add an extra pedal in there, and boom, voila. I just say voila with an American accent. I'm supposed to say voila, you know.